At Soul Effects, we're growing confident and courageous leaders through influential role models. Dale Stein is a highly respected leader in our local community, and he gave a presentation to our team on the 5 attributes of successful people. We hope you enjoy his presentation.
Appreciate the opportunity to talk in front of you and possibly give you some information that you'll carry on for the rest of your life. I only have a half hour, so not a lot of time. So I said, what do I want to really get past you? So I decided to give everybody the secret to life. So I don't know if you were expecting to understand that you would get the secret to life today. You're going to get it, and it's from my heart, and it's true. The secret to life is nothing but a series of choices. When you realize you get to make those choices, right? That's your secret. Things that happen to us, things that we do, all center around the choices that we make. Is it a choice to be happy? Absolutely. Is it a choice to be sad? Is it a choice to be angry? Is it a choice to be jovial? Yeah, that's a choice we all get to make. And before we go into this life plan, I want to set a few standards to be able to understand how you plan and how you become successful. First of all, let's define success. Success is the ability to hold yourself accountable. No one can hold you accountable other than who? Yourself. Success is holding yourself accountable and creating an environment and a lifestyle that you have control of your own destiny. And when you understand that you have control of your own destiny, and you understand that life is nothing but choices, you get to make those choices. And oh, by the way, no one goes through this world unscathed. We all have tragedy, we all have things that are really hard to deal with. But you know what? It's your choice of how you deal with it. So if you understand that principle, right, your life becomes a better life. And when you live under the understanding success, be responsible to yourself, be accountable to yourself. Understand that. Now, so we've got the secret of life. We now know how to become successful. But who can and who does not become successful? Has anybody ever heard of the 80-20 rule? We always sort of hear it, it's an Italian philosopher, 1700s, talked about the 80-20 rule, discovered it, stayed dormant for many, many years, and then all of a sudden became a business practice of 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule comes down to everything in life, it applies to 80-20. For example, every salesforce in the country, 80% of the sales are coming from 20% of the salespeople. 80% of the profitability of a company is coming from 20% of their customers. 80% of the success of a restaurant is geared around that 20% who continually come back. Right? I always say that when I lecture, 80% of the wear and tear is going to appear in 20% of the square footage of that room, because there's the hallways and that's what happens. Well, it applies to everything, including us. It's a choice to be an 80 or a 20. And I want to talk about the 80s and 20s, and I want you to understand, it's not that 80s are bad people, it's just they're clueless. That the light has to come on. They don't get it. They go through life letting life control them rather than them controlling their life. So when you look at the 80-20 rule, and you say, well, what constitutes a 20? Well, there's a number of attributes that every successful person you will ever meet has 80% of these attributes. The number one attribute of a successful person is never stop learning. Having the curiosity, having the desire to learn something new every day of your life. And as I was growing up, I remember my dad telling me, well, some people die at 22, some people die at 30, some people die at 40. And what he was really telling me, when you stop learning, you die. And it seems like the older we get, you guys are young people, all right? That you're to fill your minds with so much information and so much knowledge that's out there. You're out of school, once you get out of school, how do you learn? You read. I interview people all across the country. First, number one question, hey, what are you reading? What do you enjoy reading? What are you reading right now? And the ones that go, well, I really don't have time to read, I go, okay, the interview's over. I mean, think about it. Why would you hire somebody who wasn't learning? So, number one attribute, what did you learn today? Learn something new every day of your life until the day you die. And oh, by the way, you'll live a longer life because you have something to look forward to. So, take a look at learning. Understand that. Another attribute of successful people. Successful people have the capacity and the understanding of visualizing things before they happen. How is this going to occur? When is it going to occur? Understand we have a soccer player in the crowd? Someplace, yes? Oh, we have a soccer player, all right? You're a good soccer player on a team. I guarantee you, when you went out to that field, you saw yourself doing your position before you actually did it. Do you agree? Yeah. And that's everything in the world. If you can visualize it, see it, understand it, you then have the understanding that when you go do it, you've lived everything that can possibly happen to that to make it come out what? The way you want it to come out. Visualization. And there's a real good book that goes into this called Psycho-Cybernetics. Best book you'll ever read that gives you the basic understanding of the power of visualization. Next attribute of a very successful person is that successful people have goals. And those goals are written down. Because when you do write something down, it does stick with you. And when I interview people, I say, hey, what are your short-term and long-term goals? And the ones who can't answer that question, guess what? They don't get hired. I'm looking for 20s. My success has been built around hiring 20s all my life. All right, so who has these attributes? In my interviewing process, that's what I try to figure out. Do they have these attributes? And as you sitting here, you've got to ask yourself, do I have these attributes? Now, the attributes of participation, giving more than you take, is another common denominator among successful people. Guess what? You're all here giving more than you take. And if you can live by the value of give more than you take in life, you can't live any better. The adage is better to give than to receive. Has anyone ever heard that? Well, here, I've mentored all my life. Someone says, Dale, why do you mentor so much? I go, well, here's the reason. I'm selfish and I get so much out of it, and I actually feel like I get more out of the people that I mentor. Give away, because here's the common denominator among successful people. People who have knowledge, give it away. Go into an employment where you have employees that keep everything to themselves because they think, well, I have this knowledge, therefore I have more value, all right? But guess what? Who really has the value in a company or an organization that you're working with? Those that have gained that knowledge and said, hey, let me share that knowledge with everybody that I can share it with. And you know, if you go through life doing that, you understand, give more than you take in life, and you do it as a principle, not as a tactic. Just, you did that, here, I'm going to do this for you, you owe me. That doesn't work. You don't give things away. You don't become generous with your knowledge and your talent. You don't do that for any other reason other than helping somebody. And you know what? You'll live a very successful lifestyle doing that. So you look at these attributes, and the other thing that every successful person that you'll ever meet, they're passionate about something. They have a passion in their life. I love to ask somebody, my favorite question, hey, what's your passion? And you know how many people you think don't know what their passions are? 80% of them. Thank you. Yeah, 80% of them don't know what their passion is. They don't know why they're here. They don't know what they're doing. They go through life. People who go through life as if they were a sailboat out in the ocean, all right? They don't have goals, because that's the other thing when we talk about writing down goals. You write them down because if you have a goal, what happens with that goal? Is that it's like you're on the ocean with a sailboat without the rudder. And the 80s do this. The wind blows this way, they go this way. The wind blows this way, they go this way. They go this way with the wind. They go around, they're not focused. When you have that goal and that goal is written down, is there going to be disruption in your life? Is there going to be things that are going to put you off track of that goal? Yeah, but you know what? You know where it's at, and you go, what? Geez, I'm over this way. I got to get back on track. And oh, by the way, here's the secret to goal setting. Satisfaction does not come of reaching your goal. Does not. And I learned that the hard way. Is that you set yourself for a goal, and you get to that goal, and now what? And I hit a major goal in my life, and then went through the 8 months of the worst time of my entire life. And I woke up one day and I said, geez, I used to be a fun guy. And I realized I didn't have a goal. I sold the company, it wasn't working, went to bartending school, walked in my house, I'd be getting a drink on a day, but I wasn't happy. And I realized it's not reaching a goal that enjoyment comes from. The human being is genetically wired to strive for something. Show me somebody who's striving for something, and I'll show you somebody who's happy. Show me someone who's not striving for something, and I'll show you somebody who's probably on drugs. Think about it. So you got to strive for things. Genetic, that's what keeps you happy. So when you look at these attributes, that's the fundamental process of saying, okay, now let me do a life business plan. And a life business plan, and the thing that has amazed me, I've been teaching life business plans for as long as I've been in business. I would have employees, I would sit down with them, and I always ask them, what are your goals? Because, I hire people who have goals. What are your goals? All right? And I say, you know what? The hardest question a human being will ever ask themselves, what do you want? I mean, there's no harder question on the face of the earth that I've been able to find. What do you want? You know what? That's a real difficult question. You need to know yourself. You need to know who you are. You need to know what your passions are. You need to know that you are in control of your destiny. And the number one thing that I've discovered in doing life business plans is that everyone underestimates their capacity and capability. I don't know how many times I've done, let's do a 5-year business plan, every 6 months for the first year, revisit it, and then every year after that, revisit your life business plan. And everyone I've ever done this with, at the end of 5 years, they've achieved their life business plan. It's like, okay, now what? And that's why I say, the hardest thing that we ask ourselves, what do you want? And then the other thing is, make sure that's what you want. Because guess what? That's what you're going to get. So, you know what? You set these goals, and we go through passages, we go through different times in our life, things change with our life and our age and everything else. But you know what? You're continually adjusting, and you're continually putting those goals further and further out. You come close to reaching that goal. What do you need to do when you come close to reaching a goal? Move the goal out. Set realistic goals, but as you get closer to the goal, move that goal further out. And you know what? That's called growing. That's called accomplishing whatever you want to accomplish. You know what the biggest limiting factor of everybody not achieving what they want to achieve? You know what it is? Their mind. That's the only limiting factor that you have. There isn't anything that you can't obtain or gather for yourself if you set the parameters of saying, here, these are the principles I'm going to live my life with. People who know me, they know, I truly believe, I don't know anybody who lives better than I do. I have control of my destiny. Ask my wife. I have control of my destiny. I do what I want to do. And oh, by the way, I'm passionate about what I do. I give more than I take. And I follow the principles I just talked to you on a daily basis. You can't be any happier. And you know what? And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have ups and downs in your life. But you know what? You get refocused. back up to the direction. So when you start doing a life business plan, we're going to distribute a DISC profile. Everyone has different personality types. You got a real high D driver type that they don't want to hear a lot of facts. Give me the bottom line, I'll make a decision. Because high Ds, here's how they make decisions. Well, if I made a wrong decision, I'll make another one. All right? And you know what? I found indecision costs businesses more money than no decision. Indecision. The bad decision of not making a decision will cost you more than making a bad decision. Because if you make a bad decision, what do you get to do? Change it. Move on. So as you make your life business plan, as you put this together, incorporate who you really are. Because you need to know thyself first. We're going to distribute a DISC, high D type personality. You're going to see what your personalities are. High I personalities, you're very interpersonal, you like people and so forth. And the two highest points on the curve when you take it, pretty much is going to tell you who you are and what you are. Because to be successful, you need to know yourself. And the second thing you need to do, you do best every day. Put yourself in a position, you do best every day. And if it's sweeping the floors, be the best sweeper that's ever occurred, and you know what? You'll have success. Because you'll start moving where you need to move. So, as we look at this, you have the high S personality that says, they're very supportive, they help, so forth and so on. You have a C personality that's very analytical. You got to give them a lot of information. They got to be able to process it. You can really tell high C-type personalities when I'm in a class. They're the one taking the most notes. All right. So because of they have to have it centered in a certain direction, and that's how they sort of learn and so forth. So as we take this DISC, know thyself first, because everything starts with you. If you don't like yourself, you can't like anybody else. If you can't give to yourself, you can't give to anybody else. If you do not respect yourself, you can't respect anybody else. If you can't love yourself, you don't know how to love anybody else. So everything that starts your life is you. And you know what? You need to know you have control over that. You get to make those decisions. So when you do this life business plan, and the first one you make is really difficult, and here's how I help people with life business plans. They'll put something down and go, what does that mean? And half the time they're not sure what it means. So the guides I try to give is, what does that mean? And understand, you're going to sell yourself short, because I've never seen anybody that said, hey, that's where I'm going to go. And then start developing a plan to get there. And as I said to you before, make sure that's what you want, because that's what you're going to get. So I know I'm coming up to my half hour here, and I wanted to open this up for questions. And I have some stories I'd love to tell if you have time, and we'll go from there. Anybody who's listened to this today, has it struck some chords? Right? Is it something that makes sense? Yeah. Because you know what? Here's the other thing in life. Everything we do is common sense. All right, but common sense isn't that common. All right? It really isn't. I mean, you look at people that do that, whoa, what's that all about? But and here again, 80s don't have common sense. 20s do. They know what they're doing, how they go from there. So, I know Hagen, my friend here, has had a fair amount of this. It's not the first time he's heard it. We built a company around these principles. The culture of our company is built around these principles. Anything you want to add, anything you want to ask, Hagen?
Yeah, like you said, I think because Dale and I started working together about a year ago and doing Zoom calls, and it was pretty much exactly that. And then working for his company, I heard that again. And sometimes you hear something once, you hear it twice, you're like, okay, I've heard that before. But if you continue to hear it, that's when you start listening and most importantly, start applying.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
Yeah, you can listen to something and say, oh, that's nice. But the 20s have the capacity and the intelligence to implement.
We hope you enjoyed Dale's presentation, and we hope that you're now motivated to become a 20 yourself. If you're interested in helping further Soul Effect's cause, Make sure to check out souleffects.org and sign up for monthly or one-time donations. We can't wait to connect with you.